innovative marketing strategies, staying ahead in a competitive landscape. I'll be introducing all our speakers, and then after that, I'll request all of them to kindly please join me together on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, this session is going to be chaired by Aparajita Biswas, Head of Marketing, The Hindu Group. She'll be joined on stage by Dr. Ashish Bajaj, Group Chief Marketing Officer, Narayana Health, Nandita Dayananda Kamath, Chief Marketing Officer, Britannia Bell Foods, Vinayak Deshpande, Chief Marketing Officer, Lendingkart, Shawn, Chandy, Chief Marketing Officer, Paragon Footwear, and we also have Vanda, Ferrao, Chief Marketing Officer, Wow Skin Science. Give it up for all of them, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aparajita Biswas, and welcome to today's panel discussion on innovative strategies. Well, I hope that none of you have to ever get admitted to a hospital, but if you do, then choose a good one, and Narayana Health is here. And once you come out of the hospital, ensure that you eat well, eat a lot of Britannia Bell cheese, go for long walk using Paragon footwear, and get a glowing skin using Wow Skin Science products. And ensure that you have enough financial resources. And if you don't, then Lendingkart is here. Well, guys, we have a very interesting... Thank you. Yeah, we have an interesting panel comprising of marketeers across diverse industry. These industries face various challenges and opportunities, and in next 45 minutes, we are going to see that how these marketeers leverage technology, various creative ideas, various contemporary marketing methods to stay ahead of competition and engage their consumers in a unique way. So let's start the panel with a question that I want to ask all of you. Could you share an example of an innovative marketing strategy that you have implemented or you have been involved with recently? So can we start with you, Ashish?
One, okay. I thought anything that we do is innovative, but to be on point, and we recently did something. We launched a docudrama series, and based on true real event series on emergency cases. And we did it pan-India. We launched 10 episodes where we showcased what happens behind the doors in terms of taking care of that emergency situation for a particular patient. And also what goes through the mind of the patient caregivers, so the family basically. That we never thought that it would work out that well, that people will start recognizing us in terms of to being the go-to place for emergency in the places we are in. So all content transforming into transactions, which is quite hard or unknown of, or not to have too many examples. It worked out very well for us, be it brand search queries, be it call volumes at our call centers, or then finally into the transactions. Like you said, we don't want anyone to fall ill or be into an emergency situation, but if you so it worked out well for us.
Nandita, you would go next.
Sure. So as a challenger brand in a very nascent category, that's cheese, right? It's also very competitive. It was imperative for us to, sort of adopt a content strategy, which is, not limited to the conventional, digital, the traditional ads. In order to, sort of really build the brand awareness and recognition, we had to be present where the consumer was actively seeking information. And therefore, 4 months ago, in partnership with Mindshare and Times New Network, we launched a website, a cheese content destination, which we call cheeseitup.in, right? It's the first of its kind within the category. And the larger thought was, one, of course, be discoverable at, high intent customer touch points, and in that process, deliver real value to the consumers, right? We know that there are a large number of users who are actively searching for recipes, and within that, cheese recipes specifically. So how do we ensure that, we are discoverable when they are looking up for this content and be able to offer value in a very engaging and immersive manner? We've been promoting this website through various digital media channels, and we've also deployed data analytics tool to sort of constantly monitor the quality of traffic, the profile of the consumers who are actually coming onto the website, and how do we sort of identify those customer cohorts that are seeing relevance in what we have to offer, and how do we sort of build a lot more engagement. We're looking at also sort of integrating a lot more immersive, experiences. We're looking at integrating, a Gen AI based integration into the website as well. So, it's all about building engagement, and in that process, build a very strong connection with the consumers. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Nandita. Shawn, I have a very interesting question. I mean, all of them spoke about technology and immersive experience. So, how do you cater to regional preferences and especially trends in footwear, in terms of regional choice? Yeah.
Thanks. So, with footwear, there is a lot of regional nuances that comes into play. Typically, a very basic thing is that in the north, they use a lot of closed footwear because of the weather conditions. So a lot of the footwear choices depends on the weather and the place you are in, the geography that you are in. So what we do is to get out these regional nuances, we have people on the ground, merchandisers, we call them merchandisers, you can call them local sales teams also, who go to various markets, understand the regional nuances of what kind of footwear, what kind of designs work. I mean, we all know that and footwear kind of a subset of fashion. In fashion, colors, designs vary from region to region. So what works in the south won't work in the north and east and west, whatever. So these people who are our eyes and ears on the ground, they actually understand customer preferences, and come back and can give feedback, and also keeping in mind that what competition is offering in those markets. And then we sitting in Bangalore, our design team is based in Bangalore. We get these inputs, we develop, the design team develops designs, materials, works with different kinds of materials, etc., to develop various footwear options, which then we supply to various parts of the country. Because we do have a large distribution setup, so we reach out to every nook and corner. Of course, there's some weak and strong markets, but essentially it's all over the country. So that's what we keep in mind in terms of the product. And that's how we reach out to consumers through the product. And where communication is concerned, what we've been doing is, and since we are a very mass and ultra mass brand, in fact, we use a lot of regional content, regional influencers, and in fact, we stay away from English-speaking, urban influencers and content creators. We prefer to go with more people who can speak the local language. I almost insist on it. Like we are doing something in West Bengal for Durga Puja. And you could see the content, the influencers trying a little bit of English and Bengali and all that. And like, yeah, why we just speak in your own language and speak in language which your audience understands, rather than trying. We don't need to be that way. So we don't need to be elitist. So we like to connect with our consumers that way.
Thanks, Shawn. In fact, Shawn spoke about various regional preferences. Ram, what kind of innovative strategies that you are developing to cater to the rural customers? In fact, you have a very, very interesting and challenging category. You represent a challenging category. So how do you cater to rural consumers?
Yes, certainly we won't put our ads on somewhere in our show. I see a lot of young people, I'm sure they're... Everybody knows the Supreme Leader or not? Yes or no? The audience is dead. So, no, I think rural, so a lot of times we get to hear this, that there is only a 30 million sort of a audience cohort which is spending in India. But the largest growth that we see in India is the rural consumption. We deal with MSMEs, small businesses across the country. I mean, if you go anywhere in India, you'll find MSMEs. You may not find big factories or big showrooms, but you'll certainly find small shops, small design houses, small factories for that matter. So for us, it's very important to be accessible to them, because the biggest problem for these small businesses across India is credit access. If you go to a small village or a taluka place, there is barely one bank or two banks, maybe a cooperative bank. If they say no to the loan to them, they don't have anywhere to go. So having that access is the biggest thing that we are enabling for them. The simple thing that we do is just making them aware that something like this exists. The pandemic sort of helped, because the digital revolution kind of made people think that, oh, we can take a loan online. It's not necessary that you have to stand in a queue in a bank, or you have to go to the neighborhood saukar, you know, the money lender, or any of those things. So we created all our stories around these problems that the rural MSMEs and rural small businesses face. And I won't say rural or anything, because in their mindset, they're not rural. You know, the access to information, to tools, and everything that they have now, anywhere in India is at par. The only thing is they don't have access to a financial institution like a bank in their neighborhood. That just goes away once they have 4G on their phone and they have the Lendingkart app or any other fintech app. You know, everyone's using QR code-based payments. UPI is such a ubiquitous thing. There are many other things that have come up now, the digital public goods infrastructure that India has, India stack, and we all should be very proud of what India has achieved in this space. That has made it so much easier for them. So for us, communicating with them is simply about letting them know. And the channels that we have seen, by the way, Instagram is working very well for us, even in tier 3, 4 towns. And I was very surprised by that. Initially, we thought Instagram, to khoobsurat tasveerein dalo bhai. But when we started communicating about what is possible for a small business, we just started seeing results. And then what we do also is we connect with our customers who are ready to talk about the fact that they've taken a loan, because that's not a category which people are really proudly. I mean, somebody would say that, I buy Laughing Cow cheese, or somebody would say they use Wow skincare probably, but nobody says, "Kya maine loan liya," you know. So, but then we do find people who are ready to talk about it, and what we do is we create videos with them as their ads. So we are sort of telling them that this is a video about how a capital infusion into your business helped you grow, and then how should somebody else get in touch with you. That is working for us. So we'll do more of this.
That's interesting, Ram. In fact, communication play an important role in, especially among the NBFCs. Moving on to Vanda, you represent a very competitive and interesting and dynamic industry. Would you like to share some of the most exciting market trends that you have observed, and also, you know, some of the innovative strategies that you have been part with?
Thanks, Aparajita. Hello, everybody. My name is Vanda. I'm the CMO of Wow Skin Science. Wow Skin Science is a leading D2C brand, an insurgent brand, because we've broken all the rules, what legacy brands have done, and seen great success. And those are two questions in itself, Aparajita. And I must say thank you for the lovely introduction. I've never been on a panel which is such a great introduction has been done. The first one is innovative marketing strategy is...
I spoke about various interesting marketing trends that you have observed, and of course, a few innovative strategies that you have implemented or, you know, been associated with.
Okay. So as an insurgent brand, you have to break the rules, right? And having worked in legacy organizations also and done marketing, what we have done is we have taken the best of both the worlds. So at one end of the spectrum, you have to build a brand, create a brand, and be consistent over a period of time by proposition, positioning, etc. The other one is quickly gain the attention of consumers. We are very aware that our consumers are Gen Zs and later millennials. So what really works is virality. I know I've used a term which is really the talk of the town and everyone wants to do it. So what we do is we balance both the spectrums to be able to, you know, be innovative in terms of marketing. I'll give you a recent example. We launched Wow Onion Shampoo is the OG for hair fall. We recently launched it and made it better by adding collagen to it, and no one actually has collagen. So what we did conventionally is proposition was there, and we made our ads, and we put it up on different media channels. But to resonate more strongly, right, what we have really worked with is influencers. So what we said is, let us make content and collaborations which actually place this forward. So what we did is very, very interesting and innovating things which conventionally no one would have done. The first one was create that bit of interest to say that what has happened to Wow. So we did something like Kanda Collagen, and we said we made this entire social media campaign that, we sent an influencer to the Sabji Mandi and said, in Kanda, right? We said Kanda Collagen, we did a rhyming of it, and we said there's something adulterated in collagen. So everyone went in the Sabji Mandi and they said, okay, fine, what has happened to Kanda? Usme milawat hai, etc., etc. And then we said, actually, Kanda has collagen right now, and it makes your hair stronger and hair fall reduces. We've just tied up, so it's just going to be launched with Zepto. So Zepto is where modern young India actually buys. So what we've done there is we've shown consumers buying Kanda on Zepto, and we've made our founder as a Zepto boy delivering Kanda plus collagen. Like, who would have even thought about it, right? When I worked for legacy brands, a brand was something, it was a edifice, it was something you didn't really touch with. But imagine we made it accessible, we made it, a cool brand, and we've actually made our founder go and deliver Kanda, but actually wow with collagen. And there's an interesting play with it. What we've also done is, very interestingly, build a microsite, which actually is called the Museum of Hair Fall. So imagine yourself going to the museum where you've seen the Mona Lisa, you've seen really interesting Van Goghs, all these famous paintings, but ironic, the twist is there's no hair. So as you navigate through the entire place, then there are buttons when you click and you say, with Wow Collagen, hair grows, this becomes better, etc., etc. So it's an interactive thing. So we are playful with our brand, and we try to do interesting things to, while you set the proposition and the brand attributes, you also have a little bit of fun. So this is one interesting thing, campaign which we actually did.
That's nice, and I think, Vanda, you successfully onboarded me, and I'm definitely going to try a few of your products. Moving on to Shawn, my next question is to you. Brand repositioning is a very powerful tool for revitalizing your existing brands or venturing into newer markets, or to engage with your audience better. How does your new brand identity with the tagline "Zid chalte rehne ki," right? That's right. Yeah. Resonate with everyday consumers, and how it is contributing to your market expansion goals?
So Paragon, again, it's a legacy brand. It's been there for 50 years. Most of us at some point of time have used the product, Hawaii chappals or any kind of open footwear. So we did some research when I came on board last year, and we deep dive into the consumers' motivations for buying into the brand, and or preferring this brand over the others. And we realized that there's a very strong emotional connect with the brand. So people typically go, it's in that socioeconomic class, Paragon is almost a generic. It's like Amul butter or Britannia biscuits or whatever, you Cadbury or whatever. You just go and say, "Mujhe Paragon de do." Whether he buys a Paragon chappal or not, that's a different situation altogether. That depends on a lot of the push of the retailer. But there's a strong emotional connect. Secondly, we also discovered that, this is kind of intuitive, that footwear, we take it for granted because most of us travel in air-conditioned cars and sit in air-conditioned offices, but our consumer spends most of the time outdoors and in very tough conditions, and बोलते ना रगड़ते, like the footwear literally वो रगड़ते, so then maybe our chappals would last us for a year and we just throw it out of because you're bored of it, but for them it's a part of their livelihood. It's part of their everyday, day-to-day stuff that they do, And if the footwear breaks somewhere in the middle of the day, they are in deep trouble. So that's the bond that they have. That's why that's so important. And um, with the new agency, we actually, with this research and with a new creative agency on board, we actually came up with this positioning Zid Chalte Rehne Ki, which connects with the common man. So we are like the uncompromising silent partner for that common man who is determined to move forward in life. And I mean, we see this, like Ram spoke about rural consumers, you know. I mean, it's wrong to say that they don't have the aspirations that urban consumers have. Like you spoke about Instagram. Instagram does exceedingly well for us too. I mean, we also sell in rural areas, and I keep telling my management that what makes you think that Instagram is only for the young or the kids or the urban audiences? It's all across the place, Instagram, Facebook, and you just need to connect with them in their own language. So, you know, the idea is that to reach out to that person, that TG who's actually aspirational and who wants to connect to the brand. And see, this kind of exercise will not give you results overnight, right? I mean, we just started this. The launch happened a few months back, sometime in March. We will need to see how it actually progresses. What we are doing right now is actually kind of reinforcing our market share in our strong markets rather than expanding. So that's a challenge that we have currently, and that's what we're doing. Repositioning is part of a long-term exercise to connect with our audiences.
Fabulous. That's a right product for the common man. So let's talk about product innovation as a strategy. And Nandita, dairy right now is experiencing an unprecedented change and growth, and especially in the cheese category, driven by evolving consumer preferences, then their demand for bold flavors and unique textures. How do you balance the need for innovation in product offerings and traditional brand values?
Yeah, so within the dairy segment, cheese has a slightly different play, and that's because it's still a relatively modern format, right? Versus a butter or a curd, which has found its way into the Indian culture and in the everyday diet, right? Cheese is not quite yet there, and the consumer palate has also not really very evolved. But so our, because it's a under-penetrated category, right? But has a big potential because it's growing at a healthy double digit. Our approach to innovation has been more in the light of how do we grow the category, how do we expand the category, get more and more consumers to sort of adopt it, right? So and Britannia, with our partnership with Bell Foods, right, we're able to bring international quality cheese in in India, and we're also being able to leverage the expertise in increasing consumption occasion for cheese. And we've recently introduced two innovative formats which are clear disruptors in the category, and we're seeing really good traction for it. One is the cheese triangles. I'm not sure most of you, if you've seen it, but the round box that they call it, right? The Britannia, the Laughing Cow cheese triangles, which offers a sensorially, a rich experience. It has, these single-served, individual wrapped triangles in it. It's a spreadable cheese, but superior quality, and it gives an extremely rich sensorial experience. So that caters to sort of one spectrum of the audience who's looking for premium experience in cheese, right? While there is another cohort of consumers on the other spectrum, on the other end of the spectrum, which is looking for accessibility, because cheese, because of it being quite modern as a format, a lot of them don't see it as value for money, because a lot of them are not sure about how to use it, where to use it, what are the occasions. The category of course requires a lot of education in that sense, but we do understand that accessibility and affordability is key within the category in terms of expanding it, and therefore, we launched the Britannia Laughing Cow cheese sachet, which is priced just at ₹10, right? And the whole idea was to democratize cheese, and it's the only product which is ambient, which does not require cold storage, right? So that is a huge category disruptor, because suddenly that opens up huge opportunity for the brand as well in terms of us being able to, distribute it beyond stores that don't have a cold infrastructure, right? And for the consumer, it means accessibility, right? Because those who are predisposed to the idea of cheese were not able to, sort of purchase it and consume it because of the price point, today can experience, the creamy goodness of cheese because of the price point that's it available at. So yeah, so our strategy in innovation has been, largely to drive recruitment into the category using the French expertise that we have. And yes, affordability. So of course, in all of this, we've ensured that we, sort of keep the product quality, right? And ensuring that it is the most premium ingredients and real cheese, right, that we are offering our consumers. So that definitely remains at the core of every innovation, and that's how we're ensuring that we hold on to our values despite, and in that process yet give very, very, relevant but superior experience to our consumers.
So that's like a different stroke for different folks, and you have different price points and different product SKUs catering to different audiences. Vanda, let's talk about community building. It's an important component of innovative marketing strategy. So how do you foster community around your brand, and what role social media plays?
For new brands, insurgent brands, and we are the challenger taking on the behemoths. I think community is very, very important because you need to have this sticky cult who actually stands by you. And I think when we started it, what we realized is using influencers actually is a huge lever to be able to build the community. So once if your proposition is set, you're doing clean beauty, you're doing no nasties, no chemicals, how do you reach the audience? Who's your core audience, who I spoke about? And using influencers as a huge lever to be able to drive that. So what we realized is using conventional media is also very costly. However, influencers, right, when they use your product, they try it and they actually speak about the benefits of it, there's a huge section of people who actually buy your product. And because your product is good, they also keep on buying it. So what we've realized on social media over a period of time is you have to use influencers because they relate to the audience. And whenever we've done that, right, very specifically, for example, we took a punt on Nancy Tyagi, and when she was going to Cannes, we sponsored her. And she actually spoke about how she uses WOW to get ready. She used our products for hair, for face, etc., etc., and she glowed. And her appearance also got, the entire media talking because she was a very strong story, right? You were real. You used an influencer who actually stood for something, and we got enormous traction. When we launched our Korean skin beauty, we did this unique thing of, there's this Indian in Korea. She was a student and now she works there. She's called Poo in Korea, right? Imagine for Indian skin in a Korean context, we actually did a huge content series with her, and that gained traction. So using influencers as a means to be able to reach the audience which resonates. And the second thing is be real, right? Tell real stories. I'll give you an example of when we had launched our differentiated offering in sunscreens, right? We went about to see what we can do to, the users, or who are the users who need these sunscreens the most. And we did a collaboration with Bangalore Police. As you know, summer this year, like every year, was very, very hot, was scorching hot. And traffic police are the ones who actually stand out there guiding, directing, right, and facing the brunt of the sun. So we tied up with Bangalore Police and we actually gave around, I think, 400 kits of sunscreens. It's such a heartening exercise because no one had really spoken to them before. No one actually had told them about sunscreens. There was genuine appreciation, and we did a film with them. So what happens is when the collaboration is genuine, you're not force-fitting the brand and plugging it for unnecessary reasons, but what comes out is actually a beautiful piece of content, right? And when you put it up on social, so audiences are not silly, right? They know what is real, and then the genuine traction which came about that, the content engagement, the views and the shares which we got was actually quite phenomenal. So while it may be cliched to do it, I think if you put real content out there, you build a community which is very, very strong.
I think content marketing and influencer marketing both become very important when it comes to beauty and wellness. So Ashish, let's talk about content as a strategy. And today there's an increasing demand for informative content and podcast hosted by medical professionals. So how are you utilizing content strategies such as podcast, videos, blogs to engage your customers and also to gain a competitive advantage?
Before I answer that, Aparajita, Shawn, on your part of launching the version of your brand, I think on a lighter note, if we just look at it, the right side of it and change it, so it's keep walking. So, I'll say anything that we search that I'm having dizziness, I'm feeling a little low, you will all end up having cancers. So that's how content plays in the healthcare industries, right? So if that is the case, then it becomes of utmost importance that being a brand which is responsible for healthcare, you need to be the knowledge platform, you need to be the right information providing platform. Yes, we are in the category, of course, we don't look it from a point of view of that you need to win it over the competition, but still to boost, we are the number one on YouTube in terms of the followers, subscribers, same for Facebook for us. We work with YouTube in terms of generating a lot of content. So we do, we make it out with our doctors in terms of providing the right information. And when we do that, it's more than 600, 700 pieces that come out of our table every month. And I'm talking about long format, short format, and it's more to do with in terms of working out in buckets like preventive, if these are the symptoms and these are the kind of solutions. So basically which people are not able to find out, and our premise is that we become that knowledge hub for people to come and take that right information and don't end up into being what we get into while we search.
Wonderful. Well, we heard all these wonderful initiatives and examples of how to being innovative, leverage technology, and create effective marketing strategy. But let's ask Ram that how do we apply these strategies to cater to rural customers, and very importantly for your category, how do you build trust?
Yeah, very important question, and especially in fintech or finance in general, because marketing in finance, you actually start with -10, because there is lack of trust on both sides. If you go to a bank, you're wondering, kahan se paisa nikalne wale mere se? Some fine print would be there, and the bank is looking at a borrower and saying, will he repay or will she repay or not? Would you need extra guarantees and this and that? So you already start with a -10. But we've found that the more you inform, the more you sort of give information on the relevant points, the trust gets built over time. The faster you are in terms of handling queries and processing applications, that is also helpful in building trust. So a lot of things have to go right. It can't just be marketing that we put a couple of social posts and say, trust us. Then actually that's it. Nobody will trust you to do that. So, but what we found is that there's a lot of data that we've accumulated. So for example, for every customer that we have, we probably have 500, 600 variables. And we have analyzed multiple millions of applications so far. So we probably have billions of data points that we have analyzed. which gives us a significant leverage in terms of predicting what is it that the customers really are looking for. And in some sense, finance is moving in the FMCG direction in the sense that it is becoming the sachet thing where you want to provide a financial product that is absolutely relevant for a particular customer. So when we do that, when we have so much data, we are able to predict what is the right interest rate that that particular customer is looking for the quickest. It's a negotiation, by the way. So a lot of people, I don't know, we were discussing earlier, interest rates are negotiable. So if you are ever applying for a loan, make sure that you do it around the month end. She was working behind because it was month end, so we were discussing that. But what we do is when we are able to predict what is the right thing, we save a lot of time there. They save a lot of back and forth. And our customers are business people. They don't have time. If some business person has to go to a place or spend time in applying for a loan or negotiating this, that they have to keep their shop shut, which is loss of revenue for them. We don't want that. So we invented this thing called the pricing engine. It's patent pending and all that. We are able to figure out a new customer who's coming in, which is the most likely interest rate range that one is desirable for them, and second that they have the capability to repay. Because we are more in the business of collecting than in terms of lending. So the more we do that, the closer we are to the customer, the better we are able to communicate with them, and that's where the trust gets built. If we fulfill the promises, what we do, marketing's job is to give those promises out, and then our product has to follow. So in a marketing line, for example, when we first ever video that we did, we had the line that we can finish an application in 5 minutes, which is difficult. Imagine filling all the forms and attaching PAN card, Aadhaar card, this, that, and whatnot. So we said, you can do it. And so I actually sat with the product team, got a demonstration, tried it myself. That unless this is actually happening in 5 minutes, I'm not making an ad out of this. So till we have demonstrable benefits, we will not say that in our marketing. So once you do that, and it's a process, over time you build trust. And then there's, like I said earlier, when word of mouth plays a big role in our category. I'm sure it does in every, but in ours especially. So a business person is more likely to believe another business person. So the more testimonials we get and the better that people talk about what their experience was with Lendingkart, the trust is kind of a bonus that we'll generate from there.
Fabulous. And I think we need to open the floor for audience question. Before that, my last question. Sustainability is a big buzzword, and especially for a category like footwear and also skincare. How do you communicate your various sustainability efforts to your consumer using various marketing tools?
I think Shawn just came from Lucknow and he's got this Nawabi thing. Yes, sustainability is important. It's not easy, but we've taken baby steps towards this. So one of it is face wash is the biggest category for us, and Wow Vitamin C with niacinamide is our biggest entry into this. So we said, let's try to do something different, and we launched a paper tube, right? So normally, in cosmetics, even in food, right, barrier properties are very, very important, and that comes because the product inside will get impacted. So through technology, we could work on a modified paper tube, which was sustainable. And we launched Wow Vitamin C face wash in a paper tube, and obviously we had to charge a premium to it. But happy to say, because there was traction for it, and we saw when we launched it actually did really well in terms of sales. And because we were doing baby steps in that direction, consumers also applauded us. It was not an easy thing. So that's what that was one of the things we did.
So in footwear, especially the segment that we cater to, sustainability is really challenging. Two reasons. One is extreme price sensitivity. Sustainability comes at a cost. Wow Sciences can sell something at a 10, 15 rupee premium or whatever. For us, that is not something that the consumer is willing to pay. Because it's still in a nascent state. Sustainability, I hope I'm wrong, but it's basically still a very urban concept, a very, thoda upmarket concept. At the ground level, it's a different scenario altogether. That being said, the other problem that we face is we manufacture polymer-based products. So our soles are polymer. Polymer, as you know, it's basically a petroleum. It comes from petroleum. So there's only so much you can do with the product itself in terms of sustainability. But what we're trying to do is we're trying some initiatives wherein we kind of recycle some of our products. The biggest challenge there is how do we get it back? As in, you can imagine, I've done this in my previous stint in Raymond, we used to, have garment exchange programs wherein people will come in and drop in your old clothes, and a lot of retailers do that. But in footwear, it's especially challenging. To collect old footwear, recycle it, and it's not easy. How much of it can be reused? So those kind of challenges remain in our industry. So to be honest, I'll be lying if I say that we are on a very clear path on sustainability. A lot of it is to do with the product and the pricing.
Thanks. Any audience questions? Any questions? Yeah.
If I could be audible again.
Yes, please. Yes,
Right.
you are.
Now, the second part of it, it's all about competition as well. Now, sometimes you lead, sometimes you lag. Now, what is the take on how do you handle competition in these spaces that you are in? I know it's a very broad question, but since nobody threw light on competition, I was just asking, how do you compete in this space, especially in today's world? You are talking about, traditional, digital, all that merging. So the question was largely about how do you compete, because you need to stay ahead. Right.
Yeah.
I'll go. So if you talk about healthcare as an industry, the competition is more towards how clinically advanced you are. It doesn't come from saying what portion of wallet that you're going to take out from one single consumer. It doesn't work like that, but yes, clinically it works. And as a marketer, it's your responsibility to take that out of the market. Where, of course, it's a race that we've done it for the first, all those milestones. You really need to be ahead at that time and need to be very, very quick on your feet to take that out as an information. So for us, it's clinical.
I think it depends on the category also. So for example, the FMCG category of beauty and personal care, there's decent penetration. For example, face wash, if you see urban, rural, it'll be around 34%. Shampoos, I think, are around 75%. Toothpaste are around 93%. So the category is already created, right? So competitively, what you need to do, as an insurgent, you have to gain share from an incumbent. So what you do is you make a product price proposition better than them. And that's what insurgent brands have done, because with the ingredients which promise better efficacy, with marketing which is actually different, you are able to take market share. The challenge is when you are doing category creation and you have to invest dollars to be able to do education advocacy to change habits. For example, in cheese, right? Indians don't eat cheese inherently. So you have to educate them. You have to tell them use cases where you can use cheese. There you have to spend money in marketing and category creation. So while you're doing that, it could be an incumbent who actually just takes over. So there is all this in terms of competitive intensities, category specific, and therefore how do you need to play your strategy?
Ram, you would want to take this question and talk about that. How do you build a competitive advantage?
Sure. So in India, the MSME space that we deal with, only 14% actually have access to organized credit. It's a very small penetration of the category, so to speak. And we have 70 odd million MSMEs registered with the government. And plus, there are so many other businesses which are not even registered for that matter. As compared to, let's say, US, which is probably 55 million, or maybe even less number of MSMEs, but 57% organized credit. China is also the similar thing. So we have a long way to go. So what we have done is we have actually built a whole, we have gone the other way in the sense that we have collaborated a lot with our competitors. So in terms of, see, our customers need money. So whoever is going to provide them money is our competition. That could be their uncle, that could be the neighborhood money lender, that could be a bank, that could be a cooperative credit society, or it could be an NBFC, just like ours. So we have a thing which we call as a co-lending platform. We are probably the largest co-lending platform in India right now, focused on small businesses. And there, we are together handling the larger problem, which is of unorganized credit. So the more we are focused on making sure that we are, correct as per the RBI regulations, doing the right thing for the customers, the competition is actually getting built over time. And what we have to communicate to our customers is that you choose what you want, but we have a platform for you so that we can give you the best deal. It's a bit like how you go on Amazon. You don't care for who the seller is, because you're clicking on the buy now button and you're moving forward, right? But in finance, there are tons of options. You could apply to 25 different banks for a loan. So what we are saying is that on our platform, we are figuring out what is the best deal for you. And that way we are taking our competition along. So that's a unique thing that is happening in India right now, especially in the fintech space. As compared, when it comes to marketing, obviously there will be attention that is limited, and we have to fight for that same attention but the competition is more with other things that customers do on their phones. Whether it's news, whether it's YouTube, whether it's everything else. So we are trying to fight that more than our actual competition. I hope that answers your question.
So we'll take one last question. Yeah, I think the gentleman here.
Thank you for the opportunity here. Okay, is it audible?
Yes.
So more of like we talked about traditional and untraditional marketing strategies that the panel is leveraging. So I come from the metaverse expertise or enthusiasm, or I read in through use cases of how brands are adapting with Roblox, all the marketing tools, especially in the metaverse part. So recently Flam has come up with use cases on mixed reality on the paper ads. They're getting innovative. Want to understand like how like the panel, no one in specific, how you guys are using mixed reality marketing techniques, technology for the marketing purposes, and also user engagement that that kind of campaigns impact. It's a unique impact, right? Want to understand that perspective.
I think that's a fabulous question, and I have the right person. Shawn. I think
the right person.
no, in fact, I'm,
You have only 7 seconds.
Yeah, so I think Nandita spoke about immersive experience, and so how do you use technology, and especially AR, VR, right, to create immersive experiences in your category?
So we have done this with, a relatively new brand of Paragon is Ekin, which is into sports shoes. It was launched specifically keeping the youth in mind. When I say youth, it's more like a 20 to 30 age group. But what Paragon couldn't do in terms of selling, Paragon couldn't sell shoes under its brand name, so we launched a new brand. This is a few years back. So for that brand, we have tried what you were saying about mixed reality, tried a couple of things on social media with AR filters, and using like running contests and with influencers, trying on different shoes. So a little bit, I mean, I come from the fashion industry. I've like kind of spearheaded this initiative in Raymond, and it sounds very good when you see a video and it goes viral and say, oh wow, you see this shirt on yourself, but frankly, a lot of consumers, and this is from hardcore experience of struggling with this in many of the Raymond shops, that people still want the touch and feel. It's gimmicky still, and I don't know, I've seen cases all around the world, but I have not seen any successful, like I know even Shopper Stop tried to do something on AR, VR, but it has failed. So people, and say a product like footwear, what's the most important thing? Fit, right? I mean, fine, you can check out what kind of designs suit your feet or your whatever, your outfit or whatever. But the fit is most important, and that same goes with fashion. So it's nice. It's nice to create a conversation, but I don't know who among this panel it works, but it is. I feel that it's a little gimmicky. It kind of creates a conversation, but not so much in terms of converting into sales. But
I just have a question back to you. Roblox and Flam is what you mentioned, right?
Yes.
any examples that you can tell us in terms of what really impressed you, if anything? That
I think with Flam, right, especially their Samsung, recent Samsung use case, I think that was most creative, it grabbed a lot of attention. And with, with Roblox, I think Adidas, Gucci, and some movie brands, I think they're leveraging. I think on the fashion sense, I think most of it touch and feel, as you mentioned, is key for any customer, but especially most of the marketing or like the trends and the shopping trends in the North American region, it's online, right? So sneakers or anything, people already know their sizes. They want to see the look and feel of how it looks like in the game itself. It's a more of a prestige or like a show-off thing, especially in the gamification aspect. But I think touch and feel is one area that a not Indian audience would be keen on. So I think I want to add that.
Some of these marketing campaigns are marketing these mechanisms alongside their own products.
Correct.
You know, now I
Correct.
think we'll see more of these things happen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good question.
I think Myntra is working on a Roblox use case. So
Correct. That's. Yeah. I think on that note, let's wrap up this session. And for everyone in the audience, if you want to connect with these panelists, please write to Adgully and they will facilitate the discussion. And what a fabulous panel. Thank you to all of you for spending time with us and sharing your insight. And thank you all of you for being here and attending the session. Thank you so much.